What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be discussing the 3 games that are going to be taking place for the Saturday slate for the Call of Duty betting, or the Call of Duty League betting, as I should say, on Draftkings and other platforms such as Bovada. If you guys don't know, if you guys are new to this channel, you guys clicked on this because you saw Call of Duty betting. Basically, I cover strategies to make money betting on Call of Duty on platforms like Draftkings, and I go over the lines on Bovada, the odds for all the matches between all the teams, and I will be picking up various other esports in the near future, like the Halo esports league whenever that launches later this year, as well as Valorant. So if you're new to this channel, click the like, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications so you can receive these videos on time before the matches start. This is time sensitive information. These videos are only relevant up until lineups lock on Draftkings and games start on Bovada as well. So with that being said, let's take a look at the first 3 games. The first game is going to be, I believe, London against New York. Second game is going to be Los Angeles Guerrillas against the Florida Mutineers. And the third game is going to be Toronto Ultra and the Seattle Surge. And we're going to start off by talking about New York. I do believe that this is going to be a quick one. I do think New York Subliners, they haven't been looking too great, but I do think they're going to get the win here in this situation. They did get 3-0'd the previous series they had against Optic. As you can see here, they got smoked on the hard point, 250 to 200. Barely, this could be counted as a one rotation loss, so they got smoked, but it was kind of close. They didn't really get smoked. 6-5 on the SND on Express. That was pretty close, to be honest, and they just got smoked on the Control and Raid. They weren't looking too great. This was the first game back with a Seam after that period of time where they didn't have them for the previous major. So I do feel like now they've probably had enough reps in the tank, enough practice back with the Seam in the lineup to help themselves feel good again about all the matches going up in the future, especially against a team like London. I know New York is far more superior than London, and they should absolutely win this match. I won't say a 3-0 necessarily, because I think London can steal one from them, but New York Subliners should win this series. I would say a 3-1 is a safe bet on my end, if not a 3-0. But with that being said, there are a good set of players here for this matchup. Relatively speaking, all of New York's players are relatively expensive. 9,600 for Clay, 9,000 for a Seam, 9,800 for Mac, a Hydra, and 9,400 for Mac. Man, everybody's expensive here, but everybody's looking poised to win. So this is a hard one to pick and choose between players. I would automatically say that Hydra is a good pick, and at 9,800, he's slightly more expensive than Clay, slightly more expensive than Mac, and more expensive than Seam. He's the top dog here, and Hydra being Hydra, I think he is going to be the best player here in this position to outslay everybody. Him and everybody else in this team is a great pick if you are playing on Draftkings. I'm going to be completely fading London Royal Ravens, but if you would want to be contrarian and pick on a player here, I would probably say that Paul X would be a good shot. Paul X's number here is incorrect. Let me fix that for you. It is incorrect. His actual price would be 12,000 for the cap and 8,000 for the flex position. So I do think that Paul X is the only value here, contrarian value here for New York Subliners. If this game goes a game 5 and somehow the London Royal Ravens manage to just play 5 games, and actually put in the work and get some comebacks in the games and drag them out, Paul X 100% is going to be a great play at 8,000. But with that being said, I call it New York 3-1. And with that, let's move on to the next matchup: Florida Mutineers against the LA Guerrillas. So the Florida Mutineers are just coming off of a convincing victory against the Dallas Empire, a 3-1 victory, a very close match First match on a Moscow CDO hardpoint. Could have gone either way, honestly. And I do feel like Florida Mutineers, took advantage of the close, game here. They pulled up with the ice, closed that game out. The second SND, they were up 6-3. They did very great there as well on a standoff. The control went straight to Dallas Empire. Maybe not Florida's best match. 3-1. And then in a Garrison game 4, they won out close, 250 to 246. They came back hard. I was watching that game. I think Dallas choked hard again, and Florida Mutineers take this one in a convincing fashion. I just feel this was a Dallas Empire choke rather than, Florida Mutineers is just this insanely great. I just really do think Dallas Empire choked hard on this one. Nevertheless, I still think Florida is a great team, and against the Gorillas, I am 100% sure that they are going to either 3-0 them or just 3-0 them. Gorillas are pretty terrible right now. I am going to completely fade them. I don't want to play them against anybody right now, especially against the Florida Mutineers, who are starting to look their best, who have been consistently their best as of late. So I would say here, out of the bat, Havok at the captain position at 10,800 would be a decent play. He's a guy with a decent upside in a team that wins a lot, in a dominant looking team that has already proven to have, great rapport with their teammates. He posted 125 against Dallas, and yeah, he was looking like a pretty good candidate there, and he's looking like a pretty good candidate here against the Gorillas. So Havok, keep him on your radar, as well as Neptune at 8,000. If this is a 3-0, Havok and Neptune are going to be one of the key sleepers of all this slate. Third in line, I would probably say Awakening, and then Skies last, just because Skies is the most expensive. However, if this does go a 3-0, Skies is going to be pretty much a lock. You want to 3-stack this team if you can. Skies hasn't posted a game under 100 fantasy points since May the 14th, I want to say. And yeah, it's crazy because it's been 2 months basically since Skies has posted a game under 100 fantasy points. So him at 10,000 is actually not that expensive now that I think about it, because there are other players or other fantasy players at like 10,200, 10,300 that haven't been as consistent as him. So Skies, Neptune, Havok, best values here. Awakening seems to always be asleep. Contrary to his name, he's never awake. But no, I'm lying. There's only been a couple of the games that he hasn't been consistent. Those were against Seattle and Gorillas a couple games back. So hopefully he can bounce back. Hopefully this is the match where Awakening is a key piece instead of Skies. But like I said, Havok and Neptune are my favorite here, and I'm going to call this a 3-0 against LA Gorillas. Not even going to look at Gorillas, because honestly I wouldn't want you to put money on this team. I wouldn't want to give you that kind of motivation to go in the losing direction. As you can see, the line favors Florida Mutineers at a -400. And yeah, that's a heavy favorite. Moving on to the next game. So Toronto also ended up 3-0ing the LA Gorillas. 250 to 75, absolutely smoked. S&D 6-3, absolutely smoked. Control 3-0, absolutely smoked. I do not want to target Toronto's opposition, which is the Seattle Surge, who have no possibility of winning anything this season. They're absolutely out of the question here. For my opinion, they are just not a team I want to look at right now. They are just not in a great position. I will help you save money and not put money here on Seattle. I would say Toronto is obviously the choice here at a staggering -2,000 favorites against the +825 favorites, underdogs, by the Seattle Surge. I think this is one of the heaviest favorites I've seen all season. Pretty crazy to think that, but this is going to be an easy 3-0. And I would say to go with maybe Bance, whose price is also wrong. Bance is sitting at a measly 8,200. You know, for a team that is probably going to get a 3-0, I say Bance at the flex position is pretty decent. Cammy at the cap at 14-1, or not 14-1, actually 15-3. I don't know why these prices are so wrong, but that's my fault, by the way. But Cammy seems to be a good price at 10,200, and at 15,300 at the captain position. He seems fine for the flex, but he's another player who's also been consistent for a very long time, not dropping a game under 100 fantasy points. But yeah, Cammy, Bant, pretty strong candidates here, as well as inside. Man, this is tough. You know, any player on Florida or Toronto is going to be key for lineups. I would say choose between a stack between Toronto or Florida or New York. See which team can benefit you. You know, sticking more players of either team. Cheapest one, if you want to target a team who's favored to 3-0, always target the cheaper players because they're going to give you the best bang for buck. So I would say Bance is in a key position here. But other than that, I think everybody here in this team is a great option. You can't go wrong with either of them in this position. This is going to be a 3-0 in my opinion as well. And those are my thoughts on today's games. I think tomorrow is going to be a pretty quick one. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you guys like betting content like this, I will be expanding you know, my content for other esports like Halo and Valorant in the future, and I will be getting better at presenting this information as well in more, you know, appealable ways, you know, more attractive ways for the viewers. So if you want to stick around, if you guys want little insight here on how I, you know, play my matches on Call of Duty betting and other, you know, esports like that, feel free to stick around, leave a like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. You know where to find me, and thank you guys for watching.